Welcome to Ask the FM Doctor, an interactive web series brought to you by the Simplar Foundation and IFMA to help you navigate the complex and ever-changing world of facility management. Whether you're a seasoned professional or a newcomer to the field, you'll find valuable insights and tips to deliver a better experience for your stakeholders while saving money. Join us on the third Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. Eastern U.S. time to learn from our FM docs while connecting with other facility managers from around the world. Register today at simplerfoundation.org/FM-doctor so you don't miss an upcoming session.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon to wherever you guys are. I am Dishita Shah. I am currently pursuing my PhD in construction management at Arizona State University. My main focus, though, has been on decarb. I have been interested in working on AI and construction management and facility management, and trying to understand some AI applications with ChatGPT as well. So we'll be talking about today as to the AI uses of AI in day-to-day tasks, how we could achieve that. And then we move on to AI in facility management and some introduction to AI in construction management as well. So there are mainly two types of artificial intelligence. One being the generative AI, which is a large language model. As we know, the certain examples are like ChatGPT, DALL-E, and just to kind of know more, IFMA is introducing like an AI bootcamp. I've provided a link. You guys will have access to this PowerPoint presentation post our presentation today. So feel free to register for the event. It's happening in Boston. The other kinds of AI are the applications and the technologies, right? So those are about the varied companies. Basically, they make those applications, and it can be a system, it can be a management system with which can basically be used with building like building management systems as well. So just to get started with some questions, would love to know what experiences you guys have in terms of if you've ever worked with AI softwares or systems, or do you have any knowledge? Have you ever used ChatGPT or AI softwares? Please feel free to like put it in the chat, and if you have any questions, we'll address those too. Just an introduction to ChatGPT. There are a lot of applications with ChatGPT that you could do. I'll be introducing some simple tasks that can be done with ChatGPT, but these are some varied other opportunities out there that you could explore into with ChatGPT. So here I have just taken an example of how you could draft an email. So on the left is the prompt that I have created. It's basically talking about I want to draft an email, formal email for a management team addressing the maintenance request and explore like potential solutions to come up with certain facility management issues that are happening. So I've given it a prompt, and this is how basically you work with ChatGPT. I'll show some examples later as well in the main web page. But I just took that prompt, I pasted it in the ChatGPT, and I'm processing it now. So once you process, it basically starts drafting the email for you. And it's pretty basic. It will give you a basic structure. You could definitely modify it as per your needs. So as you can see, it just formalized the whole email for me with the introduction, paragraphing, and the main key points in each of the paragraphs, as well as providing certain availability of my time. So mine is directly linked to my calendar. It gets linked with my chat GPT, so it can see what times I'm available for the slots. And it basically is provided that as well to conduct future meetings. The other kind of example is the contract analysis. So just to show you the outline of the contract, I just took the contract from the internet. It was just a basic, just give me a second. So I just found this online. I just have downloaded that, and this is what I'll be uploading in ChatGPT that you'll be able to see. And just going back to the presentation. So there's this attach button at the bottom. I clicked that and I'm just importing the document that I just showed you. And it reads the document and you could ask it any question. Here I'm demonstrating few basic questions that you could ask ChatGPT to find from the document, and it'll help you go through those. I just found few key dates regarding the substantial completion, the final payment, and then you could ask like the general conditions. So with every question that you ask, it will go back into the PDF that you've attached and get the information from there, providing you with certain basic outlines. It told me that it's a lump sum contract. So I'm just asking it to provide me that if there's a cost mentioned for lump sum. So that it gave me that information that it's 634,900. So these are some basic things you could do with ChatGPT. Moving on to AI and facility management, as we all are here to kind of know more about it. There are a lot of applications of AI in facility management as well. These are just to outline few. So there are like predictive maintenance operation, energy efficiency. They use AI features to target certain different areas, uses the data that you provide on day-to-day basis, collects the data, and then it analyzes it to provide you certain information on the project. With those same examples, I've provided certain platforms that do use AI capabilities and have done amazing job with providing these services. And then in AI and construction management, it is basically the project management. And like there are a lot of tools out there that you could use to go through, depending on the requirement of your project, it allows you to do the scheduling, project management related tasks. Um, there are design and pre-construction tools. Definitely, we all know about the robotics. So there are drones, there's robots that kind of uh, track the progress on site as well. It can be recorded with time. There are safety monitoring applications, predictive maintenance, quality control. These are some of the tools. There are many out there. These are just some that I found interesting that could do different things with different applications, depending on what your requirements are again. And we'll provide you with these slides for you to go over again. But in summary, the key takeaways are that AI in facility management as well as in construction management, it can improve efficiency, reduces costs, uh, and it can save you a lot of time in doing the tasks that you have to, which it used to take a lot more. So I'll hand it over to Jake.
Sure. So a couple comments to me that I've kind of seen. I know this is a kind of a super fast review of AI and its applications. But Dish, maybe if you want to stop screen share for a moment. What I've kind of seen is that, in terms of artificial intelligence and its use in facility management, one of the biggest challenges that we're seeing these days, especially in FM, is a lack of workforce, right? I mean, we've all kind of seen this and experienced this. And so we've talked with a number of companies that are looking at as a way for AI to augment or maybe supplement in some cases the existing workforce. In other words, to be those eyes and the ears on the ground that many organizations just can't frankly find people to do those different skills. One thing that I also found, and again, I appreciate Dish your example of using ChatGPT or other tools out there to help generate emails and whatnot. What I have found, and to be honest with you, I have used it extensively in a variety of personal and professional settings as well. And I have found that the need to provide a formal inputs and prompts to the program is far less than what you might think here, right? If you're going to have a conversation with somebody to talk about something, it's best to treat it like an actual conversation. Shorthand notes, misspellings, not complete thoughts, all that are a really good way to do that as well. The other one I wanted to talk about too is that there are a number of generative text tools out there. So ChatGPT, Gemini from Google just came out like a week ago or so. And there's a couple of ones out there as well. I will tell you that based on my limited experience, not necessarily extensive testing, but I found that the differences in quality and what it can do is extensive. Dish mentioned that we're having a boot camp at the IFMA Facility Fusion event in May. And what that class is going to be is a hands-on 4-hour workshop on diving into details about how to actually use this different technologies and tools. One thing that we've found here is that it can simplify certain tasks extremely quickly, right? So for example, I was working with there's actually a procurement group, and they have done over the last, I don't know, probably, I don't know, I think it was about 4 or 5 years. They've done about 4,000 purchase orders, right? It's not exactly FM, but purchasing and whatnot. So they have 4,000 purchase orders. Of those 4,000, there was probably 600 or 700 POs that were denied initially. So what procurement would do is they would take these POs, for whatever reason they were denied, not approved, and they would make commentary, 8 or 9, 10 words about why that PO wasn't approved. So I thought to myself, I wonder if this tool can take those commentaries, those comments about why POs were rejected, and summarize it. So I took literally, not exaggerating, about 700 comments. I pasted them into ChatGPT. I said, tell me the main issues that we're seeing inside of these 700 comments. So it went through, it took about 20 or 30 seconds, and it produced a list of 7 of the major most common themes and percentages for how often those things showed up here, right? Now, from a practical standpoint, I mean, if you were to do this in professional or like do it by hand, you're talking, I don't know, a week, maybe more, of just pure analysis, finding information, looking through the comments, coming with themes and categories and reclassifying. I mean, if anybody's ever done any qualitative or text analysis before, in any case, we know it's very, very time consuming. So again, I was completely blown away in its ability to take a very large quantity of data and to summarize that based on what it's showing as well. The last thing I'll say about this is that I've not used it extensively professionally, but for some personal stuff with my wife and the kids that we're planning a trip and we're going to a number of different locations, camping and whatnot this summer. I was like, you know what? It would be nice if I could take my different locations and plot that on a map, based on my Excel file. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, here's my Google Sheet, here's a map, write a tool that will take my list of addresses and plot them out on a map. And so over a series of different hours and trying different things, I essentially wrote out the entire program using ChatGPT. Now I have a little bit of program background, so I mean I kind of understood what it was telling me to do, but the nuances and the details of how to actually program something in a variety of different languages, I think out of all the things I've seen it do, its ability to write code freely, like anybody can do this stuff, is really, really quite impressive. So anyhow, I encourage you all to play with it. If you'd like to, myself and another colleague of mine, Ken Sullivan, will be at the IFMA event in May doing that detailed hands-on workshop. We're going to go through that examples I mentioned and several other things that are really specific to FM, and it should be a good experience. But at this point in time, we've got a handful of folks here. I would love to take any questions, comments, or from other folks. If you've used AI in an innovative way, I would love to hear about that. But I invite kind of open the floor for anybody else that wants to chime in here and see what your thoughts are. Any questions or comments, perspectives? All right. Scott, go for it.
Yeah, so I've been reading a lot, especially on my LinkedIn feed,
Yeah.
about all the copyright issues that the LLMs are scraping. Um, how do you see that impacting the construction side? Because technically, all your drawings and plans from the architects and engineers all come stamped and proprietary. I'm on the state and previously on the federal side, so we tend to take ownership ourselves of the drawings, but I could see that being an issue.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject. I will say that this is one of the things that is to be determined. I know that there's a lawsuit right now. I think it was the New York Times or somebody has a lawsuit against OpenAI about its scraping of articles and different things. The response, again, I'm not a lawyer, so it's not a legal opinion, but the response has been, well, we're not actually using the content. We're just summarizing what we're seeing, which is kind of the protection that they're getting from that. So, but in terms of plans and ownership of those different tools, I will find that what I found is that the tool's ability to like generate and analyze images, Dish, I don't know what you've seen, but it's not been very good so far. So I think we have a ways to go, but we actually did a kind of a pilot project with a company that has basically a plan reading program where you can take a 2D set of plans, load it in this AI tool, and will automatically create a 3D model and can do quantity takeoffs based on that 2D set of plans. Again, it's not very good. There's still some issues, but it's it's to be found out here, right? And I think another comment too about that is I think someday the tools, not today, but someday in a couple of years, you'll be able to roughly describe, here's the type of tool I'm looking to create or building I need to create, and it will live generate what that building could look like. And it may help us do some of the design work that's associated with that. Again, not it wouldn't be stamped or anything like that, but at least from an initial starting point, I think we're going to see that someday. The last thing I'll say about that too is that there's certain tasks, as in construction, that are very resource intensive from a planning standpoint, like scheduling or maybe estimating. I think those two tools in particular are very well adapt someday to be totally automated and at least have a greater level of efficiency by using AI. So,
Okay, thanks.
yeah, absolutely. We have a question from Eric. Have we had issues with AI's imaging or not giving useful, accurate info? How did you control to protect this? Eric, I'll try to find it here maybe, but I was playing around with some a colleague of mine were talking about AI and how it can generate images. And so I asked it to create a picture of a family that looks happy. They're in the park having a picnic. And so it said, okay, so I typed that into the robot and it generated this image. And at the surface level, it looked okay. But as I delved into it, there's a kid like with 3 extra elbows. He had an extra arm coming out. And as you looked into all these different things, it was very, very creepy as to what is produced here. So the imaging part of it, Eric, if that's what you're talking about, I just found is terrible. Dish, I mean, have you kind of come across the same thing? What's been your experience with that?
I have been using it for creative purposes, like maybe trying some logos or um, some just coming across trying to create a pamphlet for something that I'm trying to work on. When I was trying to create logos, initially they had like lettering issues. But I think yesterday I was playing around with something for pamphlet and it ended up looking pretty amazing. They gave me like a lot of iterations. I was just trying to create some prompts. I could share that if you'd like, but they are getting better at it. It's just, I think, going to take some time before it's there.
Yeah, and Eric, I just realized that I reread your text here, and you said not imaging, but rather imagining or hallucinating. So sorry, I kind of misinterpreted what your comment was. And so this idea of imagining or hallucinating things is a very real challenge with ChatGPT. So for example, one thing that it can do, for example, is to do like a literature search or find other articles about a topic. And so this is a few months ago. I don't know if they've resolved this issue, but I said, well, ChatGPT, go out and find me a list of articles about this topic. I think is actually related to like procurement and facilities management. Is I want to find some articles that highlight these 3 topics here about this area and go off and find it. So it went off and found it and it came back with a list of 5 or 6 like peer-reviewed journal articles that were directly asking about what I was talking about, very specific to my topic. And I thought to myself, how I've never even heard of these articles before. It was things like something along the lines of how to optimize the ideal way to deliver procurement and facilities management. Just ideal type of a title of the article that I was looking for. And so it had the journal article, the reference number, the volume, the issue number. I was like, let's just go to that journal and take a look at it. So I went to the journal. I found the issue. I found everything that it talked about. And I went through the list of articles that were published in that particular issue. And guess what? None of it was there. But what was there was the same authors that are published inside of that issue. So what it had done, to get to Eric's question about hallucinating, is I had taken the authors' names, had taken some of the articles in that issue and combined them together and made up a new article title. For whatever reason, I don't know why I did it, but that's what it did. So in a professional context, if you were to take something like that and reference that and say, here's how I got this information, reference this article that the robot made up, I mean, from a legal standpoint, professional, ethical standpoint, I mean, there's major concerns about that. So my advice is that anytime you are trying to reference it from a like point of this is the truth, something you should definitely double check as to what it's telling you. If you're looking to quickly summarize or get ideas about how to do something, it performs exceptionally well about that. If you're using it to do programming and develop an app or a script or whatever, try it out, debug it, test it out thoroughly. But I would definitely not rely on that to be kind of a single source of truth for what's actually going on. Last thing I'll say about that is that the issue was pretty prevalent a few months ago. I've not seen it as much recently. So my guess is that they're actually working on that. And as future iterations and models come out, these hallucinations will be far and few between as the tool is developed. Great question, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for today's session of Ask BFM Doctor. Be sure to mark your calendars now and join our next webinar at 12 p.m. Central Time on the third Tuesday of the month. We look forward to seeing you again.